Welcome to another episode of Beyond Physical, where we talk about the mental, emotional, social, and at times spiritual benefits of exercise. We believe that exercise is more than movement, and this podcast is our attempt at sharing that message with the world by sharing our own as well as our guests' experiences and knowledge. If you enjoy it, we ask that you please spread the message by leaving a rating and review, or even better, by sharing with a friend. Every myth that has ever been uttered will be unmythed. Will be demythed. We demyth things here. It sounds like I'm saying mist with a lisp.
Yeah, demythed.
Demythed. Brew. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
I feel like we've been starting off our podcast with such gold in terms of like absolute blabber jabber. So that keeps us on the right track. Wessel Coetzee, welcome to the podcast.
Are we on? Let's go.
Round two.
Round two, bro. And I vouched I will come back and speak about nutrition and not everything else.
And not building a property portfolio.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what we spoke about, but we actually came in for an hour to speak about nutrition and we didn't do it. So
We didn't touch on it at all.
we're back.
But welcome back to everyone who doesn't know. Wessel is the co-founder of 13Nutrition. And yeah, in his own words, bootstrapping.
Thanks for saying co-founder.
Do people not say that?
No, because my wife keeps saying I cut her out because she's the other founder.
I wanted to make sure that was something that
Put it in there.
I didn't get in trouble or get you in trouble for that.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, it's great to have you on the show, and we've actually got some very cool from your side and my side, actual nutrition related cues
I'm excited.
to touch on. But as I said, welcome back in video format this time, so the listeners can enjoy the height and actually put into context that I have absolutely dwarfed it
I'm
right now.
trying to get my mic up without making it fall over.
You might have to cradle it for the. I mean, like I'm almost permanently holding mine.
I'll just hold it then.
Otherwise, maybe Mark can help. But
It's all good.
so there are a few things we're going to touch on today. Hopefully, we can cover them all. But I wanted to start us off with quite a broad one. It's probably the only one we actually did cover last time, and that is, or maybe we didn't, but that is, where do supplements fit in, and why is it important for people to use supplements?
Yeah. Bro, that wasn't in the questions I sent you.
I know, I
I'm
just
joking.
freestyled.
Okay. So super important because I truly believe a supplement means it's supplementing already a healthy diet. So we're not going to move away from you have a healthy diet. Like everything is about having a healthy diet, knowing your body, knowing your goals, knowing what you want to hit. So it's like, what type of training are you doing? So you got to eat towards that. If you want to build lean muscle, if you want to have more protein, if you want to have more carbs, you need to sort of figure out where you're going with the type of lifestyle you have. And then where you fall short is where you want to supplement. So this is where the science comes in, because supplementing is, okay, so we spoke about this earlier when we had a little chit-chat about what we're going to chat about, but it's, so like I'm a busy guy, I know I need to, so if you want to work out your protein, so yeah, for someone wanting to hit your protein goals, for maintenance, you want to have 1 gram of protein per the amount you weigh. So I weigh 95 kgs. So for me to maintain muscle, I want to get 95 grams of protein a day. So that's going to be 3 eggs in the morning, chicken breasts for lunch, steak at night. I'm going to hit my goals. But actually, I want to build muscle. So I want to hit 3 grams. So that's 95 times 3. So I'm going to hit up to the top 280 grams, and that's where you're going to go like, bro, that's a lot of food to eat. That's a lot of eggs, steak, chicken. So that's where you supplement with a daily, hey, I'm going to get a protein shake because that's where I can hit an extra 25. So I might have to get 3 shakes throughout the day to hit an extra 70 or 80 grams of protein. So that's where you supplement is because your diet's falling short.
And is that, and are you supplementing that because typically we find, or most people find, that that's like just a little bit too much volume in terms of food? Or
Precisely, it's expensive.
Sure.
Or it's a lot of food to eat. And so now mine is also very high because I'm a big guy. I'm like almost 2 meters, 95 kg. So mine is hitting it to the top. But for a normal, even girls listening to this, you're like, I want to maintain muscle. So maybe girls are going to weigh 60 kgs. And then you're going to go look at the macros of what you're eating. And maybe girls also don't eat as much as us. But then they go like, I might have to have that extra shake somewhere in a day to get that extra 20 grams of protein for me to maintain my muscle, or to add, if you're getting, listen, Seb, I'm at a Horizon gym. I'm doing 5 sessions a week. I'm going to need more protein because I'm recovering better. I want to recover better. I want to hit my goals for getting maybe 2 grams if you're a girl, 2 grams per your 60 kg. So you want to hit 120 grams daily in your diet. So that's where you're going to get, okay, so I'm going to have to supplement that with or a plant protein or a whey protein. Now, should we speak about the differences about the two proteins?
I'd love to touch on that. How do the two compare? Is one better than the other?
So,
And if so, how?
massive. So, of course, whey protein is what we all know as the gold standard. Now, not all proteins are made equally as well. So, when you look at your tub, I should have had a tub. So, you take out putting here your 13 nutrition tub out there. Look at the back. When you buy a protein, look at the back. What are they putting in there? So, if you've got say like 3 types of whey protein. You've got your hydrolysate, your isolate, and your concentrate. Now that just means the one is more processed than the other. So concentrate will still have a little bit of carbs and fat and lactose in there because that's what's normal in whey protein. And then they process it a bit more, then you get an isolate. Then they take out the lactose, they take out the fat percentage that's in the whey, and then you get a hydrolysate that's processed that even the protein is open. So when you drink it, it just absorbs immediately. So that's super expensive, middle expensive, concentrates your more affordable one. But then you buy a protein and you go look at the back, they say milk protein, or they say added collagen, or they say soy protein, so these are all very cheap filler proteins for us to be able to say, hey bro, buy this for 300 Rand a kg and it's a whey protein. Now legally, on my label, it only has to have 15% of whey protein for me to say you're buying a whey protein.
So 15% of the total volume
of the volume can be whey protein,
Jeepers.
And then I can sell it as whey protein. And here's the thing: we import our protein from the Netherlands. So for me, landing it at a port here in South Africa, I cannot land protein for $300 a kg. So when I walk into a shop and I see, bro, this brand is selling 300 Rand a kg, and people are like, why is 13Nutrition or why is Optimum Nutrition, why are these guys so expensive? It's like, because, bro, you cannot land protein, a premium quality protein for that price. So you're going to pay a premium.
Do we also, and in terms of like manufacturing in South Africa, do we not manufacture any of our own sort of protein here? What is the thinking behind going the imported route? Because I know many of the higher end supplement brands import, specifically the South African one. Like I think MetaLab's another one that does that.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is quality. So the Netherlands, I'll say the Netherlands because they're known for cheese, and the leftover of cheese manufacturing is that back in the day they used to throw it away. So what would drift to the top of when they do milk or cheese, this high protein waste will end up saying waste. Well, it would have ended up and they will just throw it away. And then I realized looking at the content of it, they were like, listen, this is like 90% protein. And that's where whey protein, so that is the leftover of producing milk or producing cheese comes from. It's whey protein. And we don't have massive cheese factories in South Africa so at scale in the Netherlands or wherever else you can bring protein. But we know the Netherlands is one of the biggest, most trusted manufacturers of whey protein, ultra filtered. And we bring that in because we've of course looked at all the stuff they do and go like, this is a premium whey protein. So we bring that in as an isolate and as a concentrate. So we do a blend with the two, so it's your fast absorption and medium absorption, and also brings the cost slightly down because the isolate's super expensive, so that in the South African market, you can hit it at a good price. So look at these brands like 13, like MetaLab, like Optimum Nutrition. So we would almost say we're a local brand at an international standard, So if it then says milk protein or soy and that stuff, they're just bulking it up with cheap, low-quality proteins. And I'm going to touch on how do you know what's a low-quality protein, because I want to get to plant protein, because everybody says plant protein is not the equivalent as whey protein. That is true as well, because most plant proteins are only 60% bioavailable for your body. Now, I don't know if I'm boring people with the science behind it, but if we can go into
That means so for every 100 grams of protein that you consume, you're actually effectively only metabolizing and
60% of
using
it.
60 grams.
Precisely.
Sure.
So it's called the DIAS. It's the digestible, indigestible amino acid score something gets. Now,
What happens to the remaining 40 grams?
it just goes through your body. So
Okay.
because your body cannot bioavailable means like absorb to be used in your body.
Yes, okay.
So DIAS is what we use as a score for something to be. So they score it in like 0.1, 0.2, 0.32 up to 1. So or you can say 1, 2, 3 to 10. Now whey protein is a 10. It's a 1 on the DIAS. So that's your gold standard. And then most plant proteins like soy will be a 0.4. So 40% will be bioavailable, or all the other plant proteins. So you're looking at pea. So we went on a mission at 13 Nutrition. My thing is I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have whey protein that has lactose in it. And for me to buy a hydrolysate or isolate the whole time just gets super expensive. So I want to have a great plant protein. I tasted all the plant proteins. Most of them are disgusting. Like plant protein, it's just not good. So we went on a mission. First of all, get a premium quality plant protein, and I'll tell you how you say that's a premium quality, and then how for it to taste great. So that was our second thing, was like, if it doesn't taste great, we're not going to do it. So we went on a mission to find international, looking at plant proteins, and we found one in France, North American company, that actually has a plant protein. It's a pea protein isolate that has a DIAS of 1. So 100% bioavailability to your body, the same as whey protein. And then we went on a mission getting different flavors, and we got a flavor house in Poland that we bring flavors in to make that plant protein taste incredible as well. So if anybody's ever had a plant protein, you would know it's the best tasting plant protein in the world, if you've ever had any others. So that's where you compare the equivalent of like a premium product in whey and a premium product in plant, because people are going to cheat you with adding soy protein to the stuff, and 40% of it, that's like you can throw 40% away of the tub you're buying from us and just be like, I don't want it. I paid for it, but I don't want it because my body can't use it. So you want to make sure you get stuff that has a DIAS of 1, so 100%. So that's where you get the differences in protein.
How does it work? That is very kind of comprehensive and I think nice and easy to understand. But how does it work with labeling your products in terms of a margin for error? So let's say, for instance, in the food industry, if you have to put something on the shelf and kind of claim on the back or disclose on the back that you've got 24 grams of protein per serving, where's the wiggle room there? Is there any wiggle room, or can a brand say 24 grams of protein, but sometimes they are 19 grams and sometimes they are 26 grams? And
so look at our label. What we do is we want it to be transparent with it. So if we say we're using a 90% isolate and an 80% concentrate, we said, okay, now look at 10 grams that you have in a tub, 8 grams of that you can use. So we don't then say, we can actually claim every serving has 34 grams of protein. But we've taken the 90 and the 80 down to say, hey, you're getting 25, because that's what your body's going to use. So most guys will not say that. They'll just say, like, every serving has got 36%, but they're not being transparent with saying there's a 90 or 80%, protein in there, or a 70 or a 60, so it's interesting. I just looked at a new brand that launched in America, one of the biggest launches from, the guy who's got RX bar, or who they started RX bars. It's like a protein bar.
Okay.
So he left the company, sold his part for it, and he had a non-compete for 5 years. And the day his non-compete ended, he launched a new brand called David Bar.
Yes.
And people were like, bro, this is incredible. The first bar to ever have 28 grams per bar. It's a 60-gram bar, 28 grams of protein. First thing I did is go flip the back over, or I didn't have a real bar, but go look at the back, and I was like, oh, so what they did is they just amino spiked it by adding collagen. That is not collagen. It's a different story, because collagen doesn't have leucine in it, which is what we're looking for in a good quality whey or plant protein. Because leucine is the thing; it's the amino acid that spikes muscle protein synthesis. So if you're looking for a premium protein, always look at the leucine. If that is below 2 or 3, you can know that's a low quality protein. So they just added collagen and said, oh, we've got 28 grams of protein in here, but it's actually 10 grams of it, it's just collagen, which is not going to do anything for building lean muscle because you're not getting leucine. So just interesting ways. We've had I should make a video about this, but we just had a guy, we got our first 1-star review, and the guy was like, listen, I looked at your protein and it's not the same quality as these guys. And they named the brand and I was like, okay, awesome. So I'm going to go look at this because I'm like, I want to know how they do it. This must be incredible that they have a better, protein profile than our protein. This is on our whey protein. And I went to go check this brand because he was also like, they're selling it for 1,000 Rand for 2 kgs and, rather buy that amount. I was like, of course, if you can get it, this is great. And I went to go look and I'm like, oh, so this is what they did. They got a cheap whey protein and they just added BCAAs to it to bulk up the numbers on the label. So now they're suddenly like, oh, all these stats are super high. So that's called amino spiking. So that's like, you're just adding cheap BCAAs to a protein and then you claim it as like a super high protein shake. But I can go get soy protein for you and just chuck some BCAAs in there and say like, hey, this is this amount of protein in there, and it's called spiking, amino spiking. So that's the transparency in the industry we're always looking for. Is like, listen, are you using premium or are you just taking shortcuts? Because margins, when you do premium, your margins are low because you're bringing in stuff super expensive, trying to sell in a South African market, and or otherwise you just amino spike it and you can make your money. But we didn't want to do that, so.
I'm glad because I enjoy the protein, so I'm happy that it's obviously good,
listen.
sourced, good quality.
And we want to put our faces behind it and believe in a brand and say it's pure, clean, and simple. So we want to tell our guys, listen, if you buy this, it's premium, and this is what you're getting. We're not going to take shortcuts on it. So
there's not a thing like in that industry or in your industry where like, with booze, for instance, like alcohol, like if you buy a black label and it's 5.5% per beer of alcohol, there is a margin for error there. Like
yes.
it's like
sorry, and I had to answer that. There's a 5%.
Okay,
so we'll normally from our suppliers we'll get it. They'll say, hey, this is an 80% concentrate, but it can maybe be between 75 and 85. So it can go over and under.
You like average it out.
But it lands within for us to say this is a concentrate. Isolate's the same. So isolate has to be 90. So some of your isolates can be 92 or some of them can be 88, but there's a 5% margin. Sorry, I didn't answer that at the beginning.
No, that's all good. Yeah. I do the same all the time. There's so many different ways that you can go down the rabbit hole. Especially if you like what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I said we wanted to pull as much quality out of this as... Can I tell you another secret about protein?
Yes. Tell me all the secrets about protein.
Because protein is one of those things that people are like, how many times should I have it? When should I have it? Is it a 30-minute window after workout? You know that.
The quote-unquote anabolic
window.
Yeah.
So it's like we run home to go get our protein shake, otherwise we're going to lose all our gains, which is not true. There's... you're going to recover. What science have showed us is like it's more important to hit your daily goal than drinking a shake straight after a workout. So,
and are people saying that anabolic window thing because of your insulin levels and your kind of nutrient uptake, or why is?
Yeah, because you will walk out and your body is looking for nutrients. So they'll go like, it's going to absorb more. But across someone who's going to train 7 days a week, it's more important for us to look at every day I'm hitting for me personally, 250 grams of protein daily. And here's another thing. So that anabolic window is good. But also if you had protein an hour before, there's a latency period to leucine. So I just spoke about leucine. Leucine is the amino acid that spikes muscle protein synthesis, meaning synthesizing your muscles, meaning building lean muscle. So
what is a latency period?
Latency means that every 4 hours you can spike it. So I actually wrote a blog about this once. It's like, so for the optimal protein program in a day, you want to go like every 4 hours. Now this has worked on average. Every 4 hours you want to spike that MPS, that muscle protein synthesis. So you go in the morning, have protein. 4 hours later, have protein. 4 hours later, so you've got 16 hours in a day, you've got 5 times in a day that you can hit your protein where it will spike muscle protein synthesis. So if I have protein now, right now. It's 4 p.m. wherever I am, and in an hour, that muscle protein synthesis might have hit its, the top of its range, the latency. So it's going to take 4 hours for it to drop down again for me to be able to spike it. So that's just like a little nerdy science way of going like, okay, get your protein across today. Every 4 hours, you'll do great. You'll have the optimal uptake of protein into your body.
And that makes sense if you kind of align it with like your general balanced diet approach, because it's like make sure you've got protein with each meal time or each time that you're taking.
There's a reason our creator made it like that. It's like have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, have a little snack in between. That's 5 times a day.
And then if you're getting your protein doses each time.
Precisely. So that's 5 times over the 16 hours you're awake daily. So then you're getting all the protein you need.
And it might vary a little bit from person to person, but as you said, it's averaged out, right? That's
Just like average it. That for you could be a bit faster, someone else a bit slow, but the average is 4 hours. We'll say 3 to 5 hours.
Okay.
So 4.
And then in terms of like speaking about daily use and daily consumption, what is the difference? And what is the difference between when it comes to electrolyte consumption? So firstly, what are electrolytes?
Yes.
What is the role that they play in our physiology? And then what's the difference between dosing that kind of thing for just day-to-day life versus for performance?
This is I love it because of course electrolytes is it's our best-selling product, and it's all the hype and all the rage at this moment for a good reason, because we all grew up on Oros and Energade, going like, and then you're trying to figure out what's my body doing, why am I struggling, or I can only speak for myself, always trying to feel right but not really knowing what to do. So electrolytes are one of those things. Electrolytes is like almost like the word says, it's electrode. It carries a charge. Now for us to have electrolytes, there's 5 of the big electrolytes we're looking for: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, zinc. So those are the big 5, but the biggest 2 is sodium and potassium, because your whole body runs on a sodium-potassium pump. Now that means being able to move water across different osmotic gradients in your body. That's moving it from the gut into the blood, or from this cell to the muscle cell. So if you want to keep hydrated, you want to make sure you're adding electrolytes to your daily life. Now, not everybody needs the same amount of electrolytes, because if we look at sodium, now it's all the rage as well to have this super high sodium content electrolyte that not everybody needs, because we can speak about the difference between daily and performance. So that's I think the biggest thing for us to understand is like on our Western diet, we all you want to hit about 3,000 milligrams of sodium daily in your life, but Western diet, we're probably getting a little bit more than that. So you're going to be pretty good. But I would recommend, okay, you just slept for 8 hours. Hopefully you're getting a good 8 hours sleep. So you just fasted. What you want to do is you want to hydrate straight after that. The best way to hydrate is not to dry scoop electrolytes. It's to drink water with electrolytes, because the electrolytes help the water move through the cell of your gut back into replenishing your organs, your brain, your muscles, everything you need. And then have the coffee, because the caffeine is going to dehydrate you again and all of that stuff. So that's a great way for a daily electrolyte. So we've got a daily electrolyte with 200 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and then 100 milligrams of magnesium, and your calcium and your zinc. Just a great hydrator for the everyday person. But as soon as you start performing, as soon as you running a marathon, or you're going to go run one of the million run clubs we have in Cape Town, or wherever you're going to join, you're going to run or you're going to do a 5K, that's 30 minutes, or you're going to go longer, you're going to do a 1 hour run, or you're going to be in a gym like Horizon, where you're going to do a HIIT workout, or you're going to be lifting weights, you're going to be sweating, it's Cape Town. That's where we want to look at the sweat science by adding electrolytes. So I sort of, did I explain well enough what electrolytes are?
So basically, my other question is, what does it actually mean to be hydrated? Like, what is that? How does that state, like what does that mean for the body? Is that a question of having enough electrolytes? Because I know, for instance, like there's a common misconception rather, that people think to hydrate they must drink a whole lot of water, and sometimes that has adverse effects, and it actually doesn't help with hydration.
Because you can overhydrate.
So what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be hydrated or overhydrated?
So hydrated means I've got enough fluid in my. So remember, 70 or 75% of our body is just fluid. It's water. So we want to make sure we maintain that 75% in our body. I would tell you, how do you know you're not hydrated? That means you're nauseous, you're dizzy, there's a few factors you can look at to be like, okay, I know I'm dehydrated. You've got that dry mouth, you can't think, you don't have energy, you're lethargic. Those are all signs of dehydration. The start of dehydration. The worst can become like, things that can actually take you out, like organ failure, cardiac arrest, those type of things. But so you want to maintain the water in your body, but just drinking water sometimes isn't enough, because if you don't have electrolytes that carries the charge for the water to move across the membranes, the water is just going to sit in your belly. Now, we've all run a marathon where we run and it's just shaking in your belly because the water, you don't have enough electrolytes to move it out of your stomach into your muscles that you're using, into your brain. We'll become tired because, we don't have enough water coming to our brain, or wherever you find yourself. So those are the type of things you're going to look at. And then overhydration means you're drinking so much water that you're flushing the electrolytes out of your body. And then you also, once again, now you've lost the charge in your body, the electrolytes, to move stuff to the places you need to use it. So that's where cramping will happen. That's where
when you're overhydrated almost.
Yeah, well, because you're losing your electrolytes. That's why we want to supplement with electrolytes, because that's when you get cramps. So there's many reasons that you get cramps. Also, when you can go everywhere with cramps. But also, if you use too much sodium, you can cramp.
Because you're out of balance or something.
Because precisely. Now you've got more sodium than the other electrolytes in your body, and now there's an imbalance, and now, we call that muscle locking. So you go from cramping to literal muscles locking because there's too much sodium in your body. But the other way around is, so you want to always meet yourself in the middle. So that's knowing your sweat rate. So let's start at like sweat rate, understanding, okay, I need electrolytes, but how much do I need? So you need to know how much are you losing. So when you run and you've got a cap, you'll see that white marks in your cap. You're like, that's salt coming out of your sweat. So you need to know, okay, and I'm going to speak for averages. So this is what we've looked at, the science at averages. So a normal person like me and you in Cape Town, it's not super humid. We're going to lose about 40 grams of salt for every 500 moles of sweat we're losing. So this is your sweat science.
That's a lot. That sounds like a lot to me.
Well, now you've got products with 1,000 milligrams of salt in it, and you're going to put it in a 500 ml bottle. So you're putting in more sodium.
Oh, you said, is it 40 milligrams that we lose?
No. 400 milligrams, sorry.
Oh, okay.
400 milligrams of salt. Did I say grams?
It doesn't matter.
I'll go back. 400 milligrams of salt for every 500 ml. So, or you can say 800 milligrams for every
liter
you're losing.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that as much as you're looking at electrolyte replenishment, you have to put the same amount of water back as well, because you're losing sweat, water, and you're losing sodium. Now, the problem is some of us are taking more salt than water, which could end up like making or fatiguing you much quicker, because now you're increasing more salt, increases your blood pressure, it increases your cardiac, your heart needs to work harder to get blood to your muscles, all of those things, and it can mess up your gut, it can mess up. So that's having too much salt, and then having too little is the adverse effect as well. That's nausea, you don't have energy, you can't get. So you want to hit that middle where you're getting your between 400 and 500 milligrams of sodium with your 500 ml of water, and you're replenishing that every half an hour as you realize you're depleting sweat. So you want to go like, okay, I'm going to have 400 or 500 milligrams of sodium and 500 ml of water every half an hour across my 2.5 hour marathon I'm going to do. So because that's where you realize your sweat rate, your sodium losses. So that's sort of like hitting a sweet spot in making sure you replenish water and you replenish salt. So you can't have them without each other, because the one's supposed to help the water. Now, some of us are taking it with not enough water, so now you just got all these electrolytes in your stomach, and it ends up doing the opposite effect. It can actually make you more thirsty, because the more sodium you have in your stomach now, the more it's pulling water out of everything else to get it back into your stomach, because they go like, whoa, there's a massive concentration of salt in my stomach. Now it's pulling it out of your muscles, it's pulling it out of your brain, it's putting, and then you're suddenly like, okay, I don't even know where I am, I'm cramping, and your body's pushing all the water to your stomach to get that salt, to get rid of the salt. So remember, water follows salt. So you just always want to hit that good sweet spot of 500 milligrams, 500 mils, 500 milligrams, 500 mils, and you're just going to replenish your sweat rate and your sodium rate as you go.
And in terms of so you wrote that blog on a kind of optimal for like general purposes protein protocol.
Yeah.
What is your take on having that approach but to electrolytes? So how does one implement electrolytes or an electrolyte supplement? Obviously it's going to vary, but generally speaking, in a way that you're getting the appropriate amount throughout the day.
Yeah, so I would say, and this is how we've worked, because of course we make those products. We've got a daily electrolyte and we've got a performance electrolyte. Your daily is for, I'm thirsty, I want to have water. Add electrolytes. That's just like, it's not in high quantities, it's just a good quantity for you to make sure you've got enough electrolytes hydrating you. So that's a daily electrolyte. I have that 3 to 4 times across the day. It just keeps me hydrated. Because I know I have a lot of coffee that dehydrates me. That's just normal lifestyle stuff. So daily hydrator is great for that. Then you have a performance one. Now this is me knowing I'm a CrossFitter. I'm going to go do we're going to probably lift for 20 minutes and then we're going to do a WOD. So I'm going to be there for 60 minutes and I'm going to lose a good amount of salt and sweat over that 60. So I'm going to have 2 bottles or 1 big bottle. Okay, so let's work it on a 1 liter and I'll have at least 2 of our performance sachets in there, which is going to be 1,000 milligrams then of salt with 1 liter of water. So I know that is the sweet spot for me to put back in an hour's work. Now, if you're going to go after that, I'm going to go do a half an hour. I'm going to go finish a 5K as well. I'll have another sachet with 500 mils of water to make sure. Or, if you're going to go run, you don't have to have it immediately, but just make sure when you finish that run, I've had an hour and a half. I was sipping on my electrolytes during the workout. So I love popping my carbs in there. I love popping my creatine in there with my electrolytes during a workout. And then after the run, make sure you replenish again with that 500 milligrams of salt, 500 milligrams or milliliters of water. So that's your optimal performance take on supplements, I think.
Okay.
Daily and performance.
Again, it's like I said, it will vary as well.
Yes, because you got to look at your sweat rate.
It's a good guideline to have. I have a final one that'll definitely take us into our threshold.
Oh yeah.
Big one. Creatine. Overrated or underrated?
Is that your big question?
That's my big question.
Creatine is the most underrated supplement there is in the world.
Elaborate. How so? What does it do? Why is it underrated?
I'll say this now. One of the biggest things that has come out of it, the cognitive health it has, the benefits it has for your brain, is amazing. Most guys are now, even before you go into a podcast, before you go into a big meeting, use creatine. It just sharpens up your brain. It's like one of the things that they found now after going like, oh, it's just ATP, it's like supposed to just help you with your muscles, explosiveness, all of these things. It's like, that's just one of the benefits that we found now. Is incredible. But creatine is one of those things that it's almost like a secret code that people aren't using, because imagine you can have something that helps you push out an extra 3 or 4 reps in a workout. Now, this compounds, because I'm like, so creatine is actually just ATP. It's like little, how do I always say? It's like adding a little battery to your muscles, that extra little battery, 2 or 3, and you go. So I can push, I'm going to 100 kgs on the back squat. I'm going to do that 10 times. But with creatine, it just helps with that explosiveness and endurance. It's going to help you push out an extra 2 or 3. Now that's going to compound over a year. If every day I'm doing 3 extra reps across a week, that's 21 extra reps. Across 52 weeks, it's 1,000 extra back squats you did, because you're using creatine daily, 5 5 grams, you're just adding it to your diet.
And have they found out how to explain that, like how it does that, and what about that, because it's a micronutrient, right? Or how about that kind of nutritional component, like how does it bring that about?
Well, so we have it naturally in our body, ATP phosphates. Creatine is just a thing, it's what we supplement with, and it breaks down into ATP. ATP is,
Okay.
I'm going to, listen, I should be able to explain this a lot better, but that is the thing that helps your muscles just work better.
The ATP, yeah.
That's like the little energy that you need. Now, if you deplete it, that's when you're like, I can't pull in, I can't, do another curl, I can't. But by supplementing that, you'll have a little bit more extra. So, and then you can add a few more, and then suddenly you're doing 1,000 more back squats yearly. It just compounds in your life. And the biggest myth about it, can I speak about the myths about creatine, is first of all, girls don't want to use it because they go, it swells. It swells me. I don't know if you've ever heard. And girls are like,
It makes you hold water or whatever.
yeah, it's going to make me hold water. Now, here's the thing. The first week or two, your body's going to get used to the increased creatine. Now, creatine, why it's good for your muscles is because it does pull, we say water, but it hydrates your muscles, and hydration is great for your muscles. So that helps you to build lean muscle. After a week or two, that water retention would actually subside, and you're going to just continue to use 5 grams of creatine for the rest of your life, and you're going to build lean muscle as you go. So if girls can get over the first 2 weeks of going like, I feel so like I'm swollen and this and this. We all look swollen after going to gym, but it's going to subside, and you're going to see really good lean muscle. And also, the more lean muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn. So creatine it's a great way of doing that, so especially for girls. And then also, guys, it's the most studied supplement in the world. It's not going to destroy your kidneys or your liver. It came out like in 1995. They were like, creatine is the biggest thing that's killing people in the gym. It's like, science has debunked it. It's the safest supplement out there. So.
And then in terms of the cognitive benefits, is that also a kind of an outcome of the ATP related stuff? Or
listen, I wish I should have read up if I knew you were going to ask me that question, but it's just one of the benefits I've seen now reading up on it, that people go like, listen, especially they said in older people, they said,
sure.
I quickly read something, I wish I read the whole thing, but they're like, this is why you should give your 6-year-old parents creatine, because it actually helps them maintain their brain health. So
it's also, I mean, some of the coaches here have also mentioned it being very good for cognitive reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know, is that also like a carryover of the whole ATP related thing?
Listen, on volume 3, I'll come back and
there we
speak about that. But yeah, and so we've got a creatine that we have, and you'll also what creatine should you use, because people will sell you ethyl ester, which is a fat transporter, or HCl, or guys, just use monohydrate. It's the best creatine, 99% or 100% purity. And we do micronized because it's just 40 times finer, so it just absorbs immediately. Instead of what we've realized is people are shaking their bottle, and at the end you still have a little bit of white powder of the monohydrate, and we're like, just use micronized. It just absorbs immediately. You don't waste any of it. You get the 5 grams that you were looking for. So,
and then
simple.
And then who should be taking creatine?
Who should be?
Yeah.
Everybody should be.
Everybody, okay.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial because I get the question a lot, like, do you take creatine? And I say no, and then they say, why don't you take creatine? And my answer typically is that because I eat a lot of red meat, and I don't know if that's like a misinformed answer.
No, it's true. That's where you get from your diet. You get from red meat. You get creatine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of both colleagues and kind of members and stuff have been like, how come you don't take creatine? And that is usually my go-to.
Yeah.
But you're saying everyone should take it. Do you think there's still benefit in having it, even if you do feel like, you are consuming a lot of red meat or whatever might have creatine in it?
Listen, if you're a boer in the Bloemfontein having biltong every day and a steak at night, I mean, you're going to have enough creatine in your blood, and then you're going to go lift Bay Hills and you're strong, But for us normal people who's having Brashburg every now and then and not having steaks every second night, I'm like, just for consistency, I'll just say have that 5 grams of creatine across your diet every day. You know, wherever you, like if you're having a steak tomorrow, if over the weekend, or choppies, or, you know, wherever you get creatine from in red meat,
Yeah.
it's just consistency more than going like, okay, or skip it when you have a steak and have it the next morning. But
It's also unlikely that you're going to overdose on creatine, I suppose. It's
No,
like it's not a very harmful
yeah,
substance, so you're at least covered in that regard.
yes.
Maybe we've got time for one more here. We've actually covered all of our things. That's amazing.
All of them. I had one about carbohydrates.
Yes.
You want to do a bonus?
Let's do a bonus bit on carbs.
Okay, so here's the thing. What I love about carbs is because there's such a misconception. Everybody's got this thing running, your stomach. You know, you're gonna get the runner's belly. It's terrible. Everybody's using energy gels. Everybody's using the free Cokes you get on the road and all of those things. So what you want to look at is there's two different types of transporters in your body. You got the GLUT1 transporter that transports glucose, and you got a GLUT5 transporter which transports fructose. Now, so why we have a product called Clean Fuel, which is a sugar-free complex carb that's pure glucose, is because we've realized every runner is having an energy gel or some fruit jelly or something. It's all simple sugars or fructose, and that gets saturated on your GLUT5 transporter. So there's actually a place where your body gets saturated where it can't transport more fructose to break down into glucose for your muscles to use. So you end up just sitting with it in your stomach, and that just becomes, you know, stomach cramps or bloating or whatever happens.
Maybe nausea.
All of the things that comes with just having a lot of fructose. So what we've realized is most people are going too low on glucose. So we've got this, it's clustered dextrin. It's a fast release out of your stomach and then slow release glucose drip that doesn't respond to insulin. So sugar, fructose, everything needs insulin to transport it. This is something that it's a glucose. It sits on your GLUT1 transporter, and it gets transported without needing insulin, and it just drips you glucose as you go without the spikes, the energy spikes, and all of those things. So go have a look at cluster dextrin. 13Nutrition's it's called Clean Fuel. It's a great partner for people who are using energy gels and all these high sugar things to go like, okay, I'm going to add this carb. It's going to be a clean 20-gram carb, or it depends on how many scoops. You can put 60 grams in there, and it's going to be glucose, and it's not going to saturate your fructose transporters, but actually saturate your glucose transporters. So now you got two energy transporters working in your body, where most people are always only fueling one of the transporters. So,
and that product, that one it's 20 grams per serving. Is a serving that's 2 scoops?
Or it's 1 scoop.
1 scoop, okay.
Yeah, but that's, so to give you 20 grams, but of course you're going to know I need
20 grams of carbs, yeah.
I need 20 grams of carbs, or I need 60 grams across. So you can just pop it. It's also unflavored. You put it in there. Great way for you without the ups and downs of sugar, to just have that. It's almost like a glucose drip in your muscles. Just you keep going. So
that sounds very helpful, to be honest.
It is. It's a secret. Clean Fuel, new product that we brought out. So I know it's going to be a game changer for people.
Have you found, how have you been kind of doing your activations with that? Have you found that you've had some uptick at with your running community? Because I see that often you guys are doing the activations with the electrolytes, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen as much of a Clean Fuel presence.
No, so we just launched it and been testing it. So it's like the 80-20 rule. Almost like I focus on the 20% of products that gives 80% of our turnover. So I focus on our hydration products and our protein products, but there's niche markets like mountain biking, road biking, running, where people are going to realize or get educated on carbs.
Yes.
And then I know we're going to get a little foothold in that, and people are going to speak about it. Because so I'm not pushing it that hard, but I'm going like, listen, if you want a world quality, it's an American product. It's elite grade carb that South Africans aren't using yet. And I'm like, we have it here in South Africa. Start using it. It's incredible. So, but I just told you a little bit of the science behind why we chose to go with a clean cluster dextrin. without adding fructose to it, because I'm like, people are already using fructose with everything, so you need some clean glucose with that.
I'll give it a go on my long run this weekend, because I've tried it before, but I was using still like a lot of other, like I had my go-to carb drink, and I think I just added it to supplement my carb dosage, but I must give it another bash.
Yeah, man.
Get clear on it as well.
That's why it's called a collection, because we just went like, if you build out the collection in your life, we believe all the products we have is supposed to sit together to supplement your diet or your training regimen. So I think it's perfect.
That's
pure,
amazing.
Clean and simple.
Pure, clean, and simple. Beautiful. Thank you so much for the informative session.
I hope that was helpful.
Definitely got a lot more nutrition-wise out of that than the last one.
We went pure nutrition. So how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay, but we can touch on that afterwards. Don't worry about it. The listener hears that every week, so that's save that until next time.
You'll complain next week again.
Exactly.
I'm joking.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's amazing to have your products here on the shelves, guys. If you're wanting to come get some 13 Nutrition, we're now stocking it here at Horizon Pickup Point, your pickup point for the Atlantic Seaboard.
That's right.
So come and check it out. And yeah, lots of exciting things as well that we are cooking up in the background to bring you guys a whole lot more value. So I want to bring you all into the 13 and Horizon ecosystem.
Let's go. If you're in Cape Town, come and visit. Come and gym here, get some products. Life changed.
Thank you so much, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to the show, guys. We love answering specific questions. So if there's anything you want to know, leave a comment or reach out to us directly at HorizonZA on Instagram or email us at movement@horizongym.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Seb Prentice, and this is Beyond Physical.